a testament to your ability with what you do over there at Sound Health Options is when you analyze me and you analyze folks from the chat room, and every single one of us said, "Yep, you got us right." So I'm a believer, and that is why after literally in my case, we've been talking about some of the ailments, some of the symptoms that I've been running with over the last 2 years, almost 2 years. And Sharry, I don't know do I want to recap what I'm going through, give a little bit of my medical history, I guess, before you give us an analysis, or should I wait and let you give the analysis and see how that compares? And it's not really out of the blue for you, because you and I have spoke many times about what's ailing me.
Well, my assumptions were that it had to do with milk, and that did not turn out to be the case. When we did a real vocal print, I was hearing a lot of mucus in your nose and a lot of swelling in your nose. So we stick a microphone in somebody's face, and we can look at things like their intention and whether or not they're telling the truth. But we can also look at the very depths of their genetics and what's going on with their cells. And I think people knew how to do this. I don't know how long ago, maybe since the beginning of the time, or since the beginning of people could talk to each other, but somewhere we forgot how to do it, and the computers are just making it easy for us to bring it back.
Yeah, and you've talked about that before, where people have lost the ability to read somebody by the tone of their voice, or maybe this goes a little bit with the body language and that kind of thing as well, because we're so disconnected. Right? It's there's a lot of people just walking around with their iPods in, head down, and everything that they're putting into their ears is somehow synthesized, or it's part of the bustle of society. So I think that people that like you, who have the ability to listen to somebody and then try to determine what their real message is just by their tone and their mannerism, and not necessarily the words that they're presenting, but the way they're presenting it, is kind of a lost art form.
Well, we don't pay any attention to the words. And I think how people begin to lose this is somebody would say, well, I love you. And then they would really be thinking something totally different. So we forgot, or just decided not to pay attention to the nuance of someone's words. But you can tell when someone's upset or excited or sarcastic. And think about a young man going through puberty. That voice changes
in response.
Which I am,
by the way. Just want everybody to know. I finally hit that stage.
Changes in response to hormones. So we just took it some steps further. And there's a lot of hidden information in the different octaves of someone's voice. You can hear about 8 octaves. You speak probably on 4 octaves, maybe 5. And we can tell the hidden agendas. I was just doing the third debate today and found a lot of information in the voices of Obama and Romney that I don't think has ever been brought out to the public. So if we have time at the end, maybe we can bring that in.
Definitely. I definitely wanted to do that. Matter of fact, I was going to ask Karen that shortly after this, hopefully before the election, we could break down what you've heard, the real message has been, or what the delivery method has been in these debates. I think it's interesting that everything is toned and geared towards building this division in the country, and it's purposeful that it's so neck and neck. And I truly believe the guys spouting the stuff in these debates have there's no passion behind what they're saying. And it seems to me everything's just delivered in the form of, a script almost. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our first break of the program. So far, things seem to be working okay. We're going to be back with Karen Quinn Tostado, Sharry Edwards, more Wide Awake News Radio in just 3.5 minutes. Hang tight, guys. Okay, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm Charlie McGrath, your host. I believe we have a live image up in Justin TV, so if you want to go over there and watch me do the program, you can. If you're not in the chat room, go ahead and jump into there. We're going to start this ball rolling. An hour, 45 minutes left. So, anyway, Karen or Sharry, I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of backstory here for those who might not have heard my story before. Is that all right with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. For the last, I'm going to say year and a half, going on 2 years, I've had a persistent sinus problem. Now, my history is I boxed a bit, and I've had multiple broken noses, so I wasn't surprised when I had a CAT scan and they told me I had a deviated septum. But what has been a problem is a constant sinus issue that has it seemed to start in my sinuses to where the point that I just couldn't breathe through my nose whatsoever. And guys, I'm I've ran 9 marathons in my life. I've ran probably 30 different adventure runs up in the mountain trail runs. So I'm an avid runner. I work out a lot, and this was literally a killer for me not to be able to do the things that I love to do. So I started on the path of so-called air quote Western medicine, and that led to then Karen just put I'm moving on JTV. So far so good. Not a repeat of last night. All right. So this all led to me. I'm not very big as far as going to doctors. I don't like drugs. I don't like to go in because unless you go to a sports medicine specialist, they just tell you if it hurts, don't do it. And sometimes that's absolutely not the answer you want to hear if you are into being active. But I went in. And we started down this path of drugs and tests and CAT scans and one thing after another to the point that basically maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I finally just threw my hands up in the air and said, I've had it. I would rather deal with congestion and deal with issues of having difficulty breathing than I would to be walking around on prednisone all the time or taking a hydrocodone so you can sleep at night because you're on prednisone and it keeps you up for 24, 48 hours at a time. And I forget about the Flovare and all this other steroid. I was better off, even though I was far from healthy. I was better off before I was on all this stuff than I was after it. Now, that is where I'm at. And guys, you've all heard me do radio programs and videos and stuff. So I'm functioning. I can function through it, but it is not at a level that I'm happy with at all. I really, really do miss the things I used to be able to do, like any kind of a long cardio event, like even a 10-mile run right now would be impossible for me. A 10-mile run, I would do 3 times a week. I would take a long lunch and do a 10-mile run. That's a dream for me at this point. So if Western medicine is all about getting you in, getting you drugged up, getting you in the doctor's office. I think that's the financial motivation behind this. Get you into the doctor's office because every time you do, it's a cash register ringing. And that's all it's going to do for me. Well, then forget it. I'm certainly looking for alternative solutions. Now, I have had people that are nutritionalists contact me, and I've changed my diet around. Sharry's one of them who actually convinced me that I needed to back completely away from any gluten and any dairy, and we'll get into that in a little bit here. And that certainly has seemed to help. One suggestion, Sharry, you made from a previous program is grapefruit seed extract, which, I did my own research on it, and there's some people who swear by it. There's some that say it's the additives they put in there that has its antibacterial ability or performance is from additives, not from the actual grapefruit seed extract. However, when I started taking it, I noticed immediately that I wasn't completely, it was wonderful for moisturizing my sinuses, and I just generally felt better if I was taking that once a day. I didn't feel drugged up or weirded out, or, it didn't feel like I was taking some kind of medication. It felt like I was taking something that was actually making me feel more normal. So this is where I'm at. This is why Sharry, along with Karen and myself, decided, because Karen's got her own issues, as we all well know. She's got tons of issues, and nobody knows better than altos.
Nice.
I'm just kidding. I was waiting for her to turn her mute off so she could respond. But so we decided that we're going to take a 2-hour program. We're going to send Sharry Edwards voice prints and we're going to let her analyze these things and give her an opportunity to come on here and give us her opinion of what we're dealing with. Not only that, Karen and I both agreed whatever outcome she came conclusion to, we would take advantage of that information and implement her suggestions in order to try to better our health situation. So this is what tonight's program is all about. Now, Sharry, you got and we're going to take a break in about a minute here, but we had difficulty getting you my voice imprint, but you were able to do some work based on one of my videos, correct?
Yes, the last one you did, which I thought was absolutely excellent, about everything's fake anyway.
Yeah, the phony terrorism one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and that was an MP. I believe that's an MP3 format. And were you able to get enough information off of that?
I was, and I took little bits and pieces from each place, and I didn't take just one long 2-minute format. So I took bits and pieces and put them together. But you were very passionate about what was going on, so that to me said that this is real in your voice. It's not the ideal way to do it, to take it out of a video, because it takes me a lot longer to do it, because there's a lot more information I have to sift through. But if we look at someone's voice, we always send them information on how to send us a vocal print. It's long, kind of several pages, 32K, 16-bit, but it's step
Sharry,
by
hold on
step.
one sec. Sharry, hold on one sec. We're gonna take our second break right now. I heard the music playing in the background. I knew this was gonna hit us. So we'll do this break. We're gonna be back with Sharry Edwards to go over the process she used to analyze this voice, this video, and my voice imprint. We're gonna be right back in just a few minutes. Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm Charlie McGrath, your host. Our guest tonight, Karen Quinn Tostado. She's going to get analyzed, dissected, and we're going to fix what ails her, as well as the dissector and the fixer, Sharry Edwards of SoundHealthOptions.com. Karen, did you want to say something after that comment?
Sheesh.
All right. Well, so you guys heard my backstory in that last segment, and we've already burned up one half of one program, or 1 hour spot. So let's get rolling on this. Sharry was looking for an audio file. She ended up using one of my videos to analyze, and I think it was about a 3 or 4 minute video. But you didn't need that much. What did you do to analyze this, Sharry?
We have this special little machine where I took bits and pieces of your vocal profile and put them together. I love this title, Fixer and Dissector. I'm going to
Fixer and Dissector. Get a T-shirt made.
Yeah. Usually we just stick you in front of a microphone on your own computer, and then you send it to us, or we have a lab and you can come in and give us vocal prints. But I think, and I think most people do, that our health system is in absolute crisis with this rationed healthcare, GMO foods, Fukushima radiation poisoning. And I don't think the government has I don't think they have a lick of sense, but that seems to be the way it is. We warned them 11 years ago. We went to the union, we went to the CDC, and we said, this is what's going to happen from these toxins from 9/11. And we told them what kind of cancer was going to come out of this. And it wasn't until this year, 11 years later, that there were so many people that ended up with exactly what we told them was going to happen, that they decided to pay for the cancers that are coming out of these 9/11 toxins. We looked at it by math, by a math matrix. Math is perfect, and it's in every language, and it's in every society. And we know by the frequencies of your voice and all of the math in your voice, if 2 and 2 is 4, you're fine. If 2 and 2 is 17, we got a problem. And we can predict what's going on in the system. We can look at the root cause. Like in your case, Charlie, your cells are being poisoned.
I knew it.
Also, your environment is poisoned. We found a bacteria from mold that is in your house or wherever you are spending most of your time, that's really causing this underlying issues with your nose and your throat and your bronchial and your lungs. And we need to find a way to get rid of that from a cellular level. Now, we talked about Biotic grapefruit seed extract.
Right.
One of the things that they put in vaccinations is hematoglutinin, and that causes the live viruses and bacteria to adhere to your cells. Now, when they give you these vaccinations, they give it to you in a live genomic state of the gene. Then the genes go in, these little critters, and they start setting up housekeeping, and it's the stuff they give off. I don't want to say their poop, but that's probably kind of what it is. That's what makes you sick.
So bacteria poop's making me sick, is what you're telling me.
Well, this the Cladosporium, for people who want the actual word for it. So Cladosporium bacteria, and usually it's in a form of mold. So it's in your house someplace, in your walls, in your carpet, in your furnace filters. It's someplace, and it's constantly being filtered through your lung, your nose, and your body, and it's getting into the weakened cells in your body. And your cells are weakened because you have a serious issue with enzymes, particularly the enzymes that digest gluten. And I'm going to back up here and tell something else that's going on in.
Wait a minute, I'm going to back up too, because if I don't stop you and ask, I'm afraid I'm going to miss some of this stuff. I want to get back to the exposure to potential mold.
Okay.
I mean, which is this makes sense. Well, at least the change of environment makes sense, because what kicked this all off was what seemed like a severe sinus infection, and I'm just going to call it 2 years ago. And it has never seemed to fully heal since that time, or I've never seemed to fully heal since that time. But during this period was I moved for my current day job. I moved from one location to another, 100 miles away, into a new place, and also at the exact same time, I moved into an office setting. I had spent the last 7 years as a rep that I would travel around the country doing rep stuff, repping for a company, and so I was constantly outside. I wasn't in an office setting. 2 years ago, I moved into a new place. And then I moved into the office, and so my environment definitely did change. And this is obviously, one thought that I had was, look, when I moved here and I went into an office every day, somewhere I'm picking something up that I just can't beat.
Well, when you look at this grapefruit seed extract, it has in it an anti-hematoglutinin. So that is one way to get this inside you, so the genes, the bacteria, can't adhere to your cells. But you've also got to consider the air you're breathing and look at the filters and just stop getting exposed to this all the time. You can get an air filter. There's a lot of good ones out there. So just cleaning up your environment on the outside still is going to keep you sick if we don't clean up your environment on the inside.
Okay, so the grapefruit seed extract, I'm taking right now. I have it. As a matter of fact, I have some right here in nasal form, a nasal spray. Is there one I can take for internal, for my lungs, and for that I can just ingest that will have the same effect, or is it only in nasal spray form?
Well, the nasal spray you only have to use like once a week or so, and it starts killing off the bacteria. But there is a pill form that you can ingest. Some people chew them up. They don't taste very good. But there's also a form that is an oil. And we use this for recluse spider bites that conventional medicine says is incurable. And it certainly works for recluse spider. We've used it for MRSA on skin infections. We use the frequency of it, which goes to your brain and sends those signals to your body. Think of your brain as a central processing unit. And then you have all of this neural network all over your body, and there's frequencies running all over that neural network. Mm-hmm. You have stress in the neural network. Now, this hematoglutinin, the grapefruit seed extract, and Nutribiotic is the most expensive, but it's also the most potent. So when you ingest that, it helps through the digestive system. It gets into the cells. You you snort it as a nose spray, and that cleans up the bacteria inside the nasal cavities, but you don't need it every day. It's not a good antihistamine. It doesn't unplug your nose. It just kills the garbage that's in there. You know,
Okay, so
most
me
people,
using it, I've been using it, I've been using it twice a day, Sherry, and because I actually like the effect of how it moisturizes my nasal passages. I mean, it's almost like using the same feeling
Mm-hmm.
that those who use like a nasal rinse, a neti pot. You guys know what I'm talking about. How you when you're done, you feel
Mm-hmm.
they
Yes.
feel moist and soothed. I get the same feeling off of the Nutribiotic grapefruit seed extract.
Well, he keeps talking about a neti pot. It's just you okay snuff some water into your nasal passages and kind of blow it all out, and it cleans up the garbage that's there. Most people think that a cold is a snotty nose and coughing up junk, but you've already had the cold for a long time. All of that snot and garbage is just you getting rid of what your body's trying to throw away. So it's good to use that neti pot and clean everything out, but the bacteria probably still stays there and starts to manifest again and grow another colony. So this grapefruit seed nasal spray will kill off that colony.
All right,
It just
we're gonna Sherry, we're gonna take our second break. When we come back, we'll go ahead and finish up the last segment on your analysis on me, and then we'll get into Karen Quinn Tostado after the break. Guys, hang tight. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
All right, we're back with Wide Awake News tonight, and we're hearing just how sick Charlie is. Of course, he's just getting back to sitting down now.
Hello.
Poor old sick Charlie. Oh,
No,
Charlie.
I'm not that sick. I'm doing better because of Sherry's last appearance on the program, where she suggested to me the grapefruit seed extract, and you know what, I really do think it's helped clear me up a lot, and I could get into some things that have changed with my sinuses and what seemed to be clearing out once I started on the grapefruit seed extract, but it's kind of gross, so I don't want to get into that. But Sherry, go ahead. We have about 10 minutes left on this first hour, and I want to make sure we can spend every possible second analyzing Karen.
Okay, when we looked at your voice, Charlie, you actually look really good from about 600 cycles on up to about 1,000. So your long term looks really good.
What does that mean?
And that it was going to be easy to reverse this because
Yay.
you have a strong foundation. But one of the things that I found in your chart, and I found in many charts, we are being poisoned with GMO foods. When they look at wheat, for instance, and they take out taurine and glutathione to try to make this wheat Roundup resistant, that glutathione helps our life force. And you're looking at an absolute plethora of fibromyalgia because of GMO foods and sensitivity to wheat. You have this same issue because your well, I sent you a little the printout. Did you read that?
Yes, I did. I didn't know what a lot of it meant, obviously. I didn't know what a lot of it meant, but I did read it.
Well, the enzymes to digest wheat, this new wheat especially, alpha-gluten-5, is not working in your system. It's putting a lot of pressure on your liver and in turn your adrenals and kidney. So this inflammation that's happening at a cellular level is from this problem with a gene enzyme called GAD, G-A-D, glutamate decarboxylase, and there's a GAD67 in your chart also. If you continue with this, it's going to begin to inflame the pancreas and cause some blood sugar issues. So we can see that years ahead of time. So we need to get you on some good reduced glutathione, which is a bioavailable glutathione, so you can begin to break this down. We need to get you off wheat, keep you on the grapefruit seed extract, or they're talking in the chat too about colloidal silver. Some people get along very well with silver and it helps the body in the same way that the grapefruit extract does, but some people can't use the silver. We can tell from your vocal print. But you also have a breakdown of B3 niacin, which helps in the glutamate, glutathione, glutamic acid. They're all kind of related and pitch hit for one another. that we need to get your cells up and running so nothing can attack you like this mold. If your body's in good shape, that mold won't be able to take hold. You won't have the stress, you won't have the mucus. So, wherever your body is the most vulnerable is where the cells are going to be attacked the most. So, the idea here is to get those enzymes, clean up your liver, get those enzymes working so that you can use gluten. And I'm talking about rye and oats and any kind of gluten you can think of for right now. If we get you off that and start cleaning up your cells by getting this reduced glutathione back in there, I think there'll be a complete recovery. I think you'll feel a lot better. And you may not notice it right now, but it seems that your life force, your energy is not as get up and go as it could be. And I think that's happening with a lot of people. And because our life force is being attacked, we aren't sensitive to our own body. We aren't sensitive to other people. And before I started this project of looking at GMO foods and fibromyalgia and Parkinson's and ALS, this is a complete attack on the life force of the body. And I didn't want to be paranoid. I didn't want to think it's deliberate. But boy, the more I look at it, I think this is a deliberate attack to reduce our sensitivity to our own bodies and to each other.
Well, I agree, and I agree with everything you said, especially on the the get up and go. Now, a lot of that I was attributing to not proper rest, even though one nutritionalist friend of mine it suggested that no matter what's going on at 10 o'clock, turn everything off and go to bed because, you need that rest to recover. And I believe that. And sometimes I fall down on doing that because I'm working on something, especially now that we've experienced this little bit of rapid growth with the program. It's keeping me up later than I want to, and I just assume that this, along with the day job, has zapped some of my strength. I still have the motivation. It's just it doesn't seem to be enough hours in the day. So here's what I wrote down, Sharry. I wrote down the grapefruit seed extract. I'm taking that in nasal form. I can get that in an oil form as well. So I definitely, I mean, because everything that look, here's the deal. Monday morning, I have to go in and see a specialist. He's a surgeon, and he is going to consult me. This is after umpteen, all right, I'm exaggerating. This is after about 4 doctors and going through the process of being tested for this allergy, that allergy, an asthma specialist, and now an ear, nose, throat specialist. And I know what he's going to say. I already know what he's going to say. He's going to take a look at my CAT scan, which says I have chronic sinusitis. And he's going to say, we want to drill into your head and make things all better. But I just don't believe that's going to do anything other than, put me on a path of more and more drugs in order just to be, at a level that I'm not happy with. So I'm going to go in and see him because, the appointment schedule, I'm certainly not going to go in and tell him to start cutting. But I want to give, these suggestions that you brought to the program tonight every chance to get me on a path that is a sustainable recovery, that is the right kind of recovery. So grapefruit seed extract, I'm on it. The oil, grapefruit seed extract oil, I'm going to be on that. What else do I need to do? What do I need to consume? What do I need to do as far as my lifestyle? You tell me, and I'm going to implement this.
Okay, one, it's not organs. They're not going to find it. It's not organs. It's cells that make up the organs. And the oil is usually for something skin related. Don't try to eat it. It tastes horrible. It tastes like a skid mark, like somebody ran over your tongue with a new tire. I mean, it just tastes terrible. So we're going to get you some reduced glutathione, clean up your liver. You need choline because it helps balance that glutamine. And you need niacin, B3, which helps with the glutamate breakdown. I did an examination of everything that went with healing your lungs and using the glutamate. So you need some essential fatty acids. Your report showed EPA, which is a form of fatty acids, and that's from good fish, cold water salmon, herring, things like that. The others, you have a bit of unbalanced hormones. So biotin and that glutamate is also causing some of the breakdown of your hormones. It's good that you've gotten off milk and milk products, because that was going to accelerate some of the hormone issues. Get this, find out what's going on in your environment where you're setting all day long. Look at those filters, clean them up, or get some kind of filter in your environment that will get rid of bacteria.
Okay, I go ahead.
That's in your report. I put all of that in your report.
It is, but there's, I mean, but I guess the number one question I have is, or would have is, I mean, I can do the environment thing. You know, I can get air purifiers and make sure it's sitting in this office that I do the program from. I can make sure it's sitting in my office that I spend the day in, so I'm exposed to as much cleaned air as possible. But as far as how about nutrition, I mean, do I need to, is it raw foods only? I mean, do I need to eat, do I need to shop for protein? Do I need to keep it at the level of cold water fish? I mean, what am I doing?
Okay, I sent you, as part of your report, information about glutamic acid and glutathione. For right now, you can go to your health food store and get reduced glutathione, and that should help you.
Okay.
But the essential fatty acids, you could get that from fish oil. You could begin to eat mackerel, herring, salmon, sardines, something like that. Sometimes it's in seaweed, but a really good essential fatty acid that will help heal up that wet, moist tissue in your nose, lungs, and bronchial tubes.
Now, let me ask you this, only because we got a minute left on this first segment. This report you sent me is very technical, and obviously I'm not an expert in it. Can I bring this to a trusted health food store and say, look, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I need help with, and would they be able to help me? And pick
Absolutely.
Out the right... Okay.
Yeah, these are made as management reports. Now, I didn't send you all of the complete reports that list all your nutrients. I just summarized it and sent it on to you. But they'll know where to get glutamate and how glutamate breaks down, and that you'll need alanine and aspartic acid to help, and you'll need pyruvate. They should know that. But also, the reduced glutathione should have all of that in there. This glutamate will help get rid of trash out of the system. It'll help detoxify ammonia. It'll help with neurotransmitters, GABA. It'll help with energy. It'll help with nerve response. It'll help with your use with magnesium. When we look at the numbers, it's just like working an algebra problem. You come to a solution, and we go to that root cause, that solution, and then begin to build up of how you can reverse this.
I'm excited. Not only excited, this will start, you know, it already has with the grapefruit seed extract in nasal spray. But Sharry, I'm going to implement this tomorrow. We have a really here in Bozeman, Montana, we have a community that is into homeopathic medicine, and I know of a few different locations that I could go get the supplies that you are telling me I need to get. I'm bringing this report to them tomorrow, and I am going to do exactly what you told me to do.
I think every health food store should have this computer program so people can use nutrients with intelligence.
All right, absolutely. I agree. We're gonna take our break now. When we come back, Karen Quinn Tostado, she is on deck. Get ready, folks. This is going to be horrifying. I'm just kidding, Karen. This is going to be the scariest hour of internet radio in the history of the world. Get ready. We're going to be back in just a few minutes with Karen Quinn Tostado and Sharry Edwards. Hang tight. Yeah, it is a long week. And welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm your host, Charlie McGrath, 24th day of October, Wednesday. Sharry Edwards is our guest, along with Karen Quinn Tostado. If you're not watching on Justin TV, I think we only have about 24 people there. And after last night, I'm surprised that Justin TV didn't shut down our account. But if you want to watch me do this thing live, you can also listen there at JTV, or you can go to wideawakenews.com, click on the Wide Awake Radio button, which there's a link in there to get to Justin TV as well. Plus, we have a chat room up and running there. And I want to get into the analysis of Karen Quinn-Tostado, but I want to thank Sharry for taking the time to do this analysis on me, and I greatly appreciate it because this could certainly look. I'm here to say that 2 years of going down this road of sinus congestion, it's very painful. Anybody who's had any kind of severe sinus issue, when it's attacking your upper sinuses and you're laying up at night because you can't sleep because of the pressure and the pain. I'm certainly hopeful that this will be the cure, because I'm telling you, everything that I've done that has involved a pharmaceutical is a very quick Band-Aid, but inevitably you're back at them looking for more or something different or something more powerful. And, you get to the point where you don't understand if what you're feeling is due to the 3 pills you took that day, and in some cases I know people are taking a lot more than that, or is it your condition getting worse? And so I think it's really easy to get befuddled and muddled in treating things such as this, especially when there's no obvious, it isn't like I was in a car wreck and it smashed my face up. So I'm having sinus issues because of that. This, like I said, very active person going from 0 to or from 100 to 0 in the space of just a few months. Something is up. And so, Sharry, thank you very much for your analysis. And like I said, I want to get you on again before the election to talk about these guys and what they're saying, what they're really saying when they come out and talk about helping this country. But we're going to get you on, let's say, Karen, after 30 days of implementing some of these suggestions and do another program. Maybe we'll be able to do it in an hour that time, just on how these suggestions panned out. But again, thank you very much. I appreciate your effort.
You are most welcome. We are doing this because we want to provide the software to everyone. We want a bioacoustic community everywhere. So if they go to our site, soundhealthoptions.com, there's some free software there. I think what they're giving away right now is the radiation software so people can test themselves with Fukushima exposure, and there's charts there for them that will give them the nutritional antidotes. So we've been giving this software away for about a year now to see if we can get these centers started.
Well, that's excellent. I would suggest everybody go over there, soundhealthoptions.com, and get this free software. All right, let's get into it. Karen Quinn-Tostado, are you with us?
I am, but I just want to make sure that Sharry is finished doing you, Charlie.
Are you done doing me, Sharry?
It was great doing you, Charlie. I did look at some of your stuff during break, and you do need some amylase. So if you can get some food-based amylase to help you digest some carbs, that would help a bit too.
Okay, I wrote that down as well. Sharry, and to be honest with you, what I'm going to do is take it to my favorite health food store, this report tomorrow, and hand it to somebody who cares about nutrition and homeopathic remedies, and I'm hoping they set me up. I'll definitely be in touch with you on what I've got, what I was able to purchase to help me with this problem.
Make sure they get you some food-based, because you have sensitive cells. And over break, somebody sent me a question. Jeffrey sent me a question about fibromyalgia and wanted to know what to look for in their vocal print. I guess he has our nutrition program. That was a free one. And it's pyruvate, oxygen, and lactic acid. And we do have a fibromyalgia program that I'm going to see if I can get up on the internet to be a free program for people, especially Charlie's listeners.
All right. Well, that's very, very kind of you. Do you want to dissect and repair Karen Quinn? T?
Well, I think that I may be one of the fibromyalgia people now, right, Sharry?
Yes, but you did not report that to me at all. You asked me to look at your eye issues, and what came back is there's not enough electrical impulse.
Let's go ahead and have Sharry. Let's go ahead and have Karen give us what's ailing her list, and what you specifically, Karen, asked Sharry to look at.
Well, I did want to find out about my eyes. Actually, I would like to be able to see without using reading glasses and to restore my vision without having to go through LASIK surgery or anything, because I do not trust doctors at all. I'll go there in an emergency. Otherwise, I just want to stay away from that. I would like to have better energy, but I've been exercising more now for the past about 3 months. I walk now anywhere from 1 to 2 to 4 miles a day and take Sundays off. I've been eating better. And I would like to also I wanted to find out what was up, because I do live in a heavily chemtrailed area. I mean, some days it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I believe that it's on purpose. Sherry, when you were talking earlier about not wanting to believe it, I do. I think that when you have all global governments and the heads of governments talking about overpopulation, and you've got the Georgia Guidestones, and you have this big push toward, now you see fertility clinics. A lot of people cannot get pregnant. That's not my problem. I'm not trying to go there, but I think it's on purpose that they're trying to depopulate. So basically, go ahead.
I would just absolutely agree with you that with chemtrails and pesticides and food additives, that people's energy of the body just isn't enough to fight off the garbage that's been thrown at us all the time. So I agree with you there.
Well, so so now you can tell everybody what you found.
Well, wait a minute. What did you ask her to? You asked her to look at mainly your eyes, right? So you said,
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
I did want her to look at my eyes, and also, I am just fortunate enough to suffer from the herpes simplex, where I get blisters on my lips, and when I'm stressed out, and I would really like to get rid of that problem too, if possible.
Well, you do have lysine in short supply in your vocal print. So lysine can generally help that. So you could try that. Lysine is an amino acid. You can get it as a cream, or you can just take it as a supplement. One of the things looking at Karen's eyes is she does not have the ability to translate her vitamin A into the type of vitamin A that the eyes use. So she's not making the proteins that keep her eyes clear and refreshed and oxygenated. It's like if you have a fire and you don't have enough oxygen, the fire doesn't burn very well. Same thing with the eyes. So I sent Karen every file that I did, and I sent her 2 summaries and pictures of her charts, and I think I absolutely overwhelmed her. So we met online.
And I still don't know what to look at.
We met online to go through the summary report, which is the thing that we do with a lot of people. Her system lacks the ability to produce a protective eye protein called connexin, connexin. And I sent her information about that I found on the internet, so she could kind of understand. I love Wikipedia because it's simple enough that even I can understand. But we have a predictive part to our computer programs. You punch a few buttons in it sends you out a report. But the predictive part of it tells me that if this is not fixed, then the electrical synapses in her eye are going to break down more. So her lens and vessel integrity is going to break down. That's probably going to lead to wet macular degeneration, or at least cataracts.
So what do I need to take then for it, Sherry?
We need to get your electrical system back up and running. The number one issue, I can't say problem, that you had was methylation. When we look at Charlie's chart, everything is normal from about 600 on.
Sherry, hang tight a sec here. I got the music playing in the background here. We're going to take our break here. I think it was running a few seconds late here, but we're going to go ahead and take this break. We're going to be back to talk more with Sharry Edwards about Karen Quinn Tostado. Hang tight. All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm Charlie McGrath, your host. We continue our conversation with Sharry Edwards and Karen Quinn Tostado, analyzing Karen's voice print. She had asked for Sharry from SoundHealthOptions.com to analyze her and look for things that might be affecting her eyes, her vision. And Sharry was just starting to explain what she found. So, Sharry, please continue.
Well, in Charlie's case, most of what he could do, he could get at his health food store or just clean up filters. And with Karen's, she had two issues that were a great problem. One was methylation, and methylation is like, okay, you eat peanuts, and peanuts have a lot of zinc, but it's zinc for the peanut. So you eat the peanuts, and your body has to translate the zinc to a type that your body can use. So that methylation was a serious issue in Karen's chart, and it looks like it's been long term. It simply means she can't use her incoming resources because she doesn't have all the pieces. So I sent her a chart and said, okay, you have, this is an issue. This is what needs to go with it. The other thing that she lacks is cofactors. She lacks the sulfur cofactors for use of vitamins and amino acids. So we sent her a little map that has circles all over it and said, okay, this is your issue, that your body isn't repleting its DNA and it's not using methionine and you don't have the enzyme for this or this or this. I can't remember everything that was on her chart, but we sent her information in a summary, and the root cause was inability to support the proteins for her eye, inability to produce a form of vitamin A for the eyes, and that's because she lacks serine. Serine you get from wheat mostly, or grains, but you could buy phosphatidylserine and help with that way. But we need to get your cholesterol under control. That's another genetic issue for you. We might look at niacin to help with that. You had a vertebrae, C5, that's too stressed. Lack
Where
of cellular. It's number 4 in your root cause. Oh, you mean where's the vertebrae? In your neck?
Is it? Yeah. Is it at the base of my neck?
Well, almost, like one up.
Okay. That
it's too tight, and that needs to be loosened. Because that controls like your face, your ears, and you can go online and look for vertebrae and see what that controls. But that was obvious in your chart. ATP oxygenation, adenosine triphosphate. When someone gets poisoned and they can't get rid of trash, which is one of your issues, then oxygen comes into the body and your cells has receptor sites, and these heavy toxins, radiation poisoning, takes up that receptor site and won't get out. It won't let oxygen in. So this ATP, readily available at your health food store, goes in and knocks out these toxins and holds that space open.
Did you say radiation poisoning? Is that what you said?
It could be. That's just one of the things. I did not run you through radiation, but I will right after the show.
Because I'm up in the Pacific. Yeah, I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and we've been here since Fukushima, and with all the rain and everything, so possibly a lot of this is from that. And my neck, I was rear-ended years ago, and in a little Volkswagen, and I got out, and the guy behind me was drunk and crying, and I was, okay, I'll be all right, okay, we'll talk tomorrow. And the next morning I couldn't move my whole back. I was stiff for a long time, and he turned out to be just a total butthead. And anyway, it was a sad story, and learning that you don't let people rear end you and ruin your nice car and your health. I never did go back about my neck, but I think that it may have come from that.
I'm going to go look at C5 and see what it controls here. There are links that allow me to look at that. So while we're talking, I'll dig that up. The other issue, ATP, that will help oxygenate at a cellular level, but most of yours is genetic. You have an inability to create digestive enzymes from the liver, which is genetic. And this is something that I would send you to a practitioner about, a bioacoustic practitioner or a massage therapist, a chiropractor, a geneticist, which is going to cost you thousands, and we can look at this genetics. We can even look at your blood through your vocal print. We have a whole program just to see what's in your blood. So these are things that we can set down, put them in a report, and say, take that to your wellness provider. Right. And I got a type here. Sorry, Charlie. So
That's
I can
right.
find this link for her.
Tap, 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 tap. Click, click, click.
Okay.
No problem. And Karen, you know what? And Sharry, we're about 10 seconds out from a break here. So if you need to look anything up, and then we could talk about it on the backside of the break. Sharon, so Sharon, I combined you two. Karen, Sharon. Karen, how long ago was it when you were rear-ended in an accident there?
40 years ago.
And you've been suffering
42
neck problems?
years ago. Well, no, I've just noticed actually for about the past 5 years or so, maybe about 8 years or so. But I also had a mini trampoline, and I used to jump on that every day for the other benefits, but it would end up kind of hurting my neck. So I stopped doing it. I'm walking, which is better. So that may have exacerbated it as well.
All right, well, we'll do this break now.
I'm falling aparticus.
You are falling aparticus. But I am very proud of you, because I know you've been, as Al tells me, you're, as I call you sometimes, you're in the middle of nowhere out doing your hiking almost every day. So that's outstanding. All right, guys, we're going to be back with Karen Quinn Tostado and more Sharry Edwards and more Wide Awake News Radio, more Justin TV. No problem so far tonight. A stark difference from last night's program. We're going to be right back. Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. And those of you watching during the break, you saw me hold up some documents, and what I wanted to show was what these printouts are all about. I mean, you send her a audio clip, or you know, if you go to soundhealthoptions.com, you can get the software to do this yourself, and then you know their software analyzes it. But mainly, I just wanted to see how the documents came across with the new setup on JTV, and it seems to be going very well. I am in the Wide Awake News chat room. I'm also in the JTV chat room. So if you guys have questions that you want to ask a Sharry, please on the analysis she did on me earlier, or the one she's doing right now on Karen, go ahead and put them into one of those chat rooms, and we'll make sure we address them. Sharry, please continue. You pointed out something that I didn't know, that Karen was in a car wreck and she's had a goofed up neck for the last 4 years. Once again, you listen to her analysis, you can tell that, what you say, G4?
C5, cervical 5.
Oh, I'm thinking of my aircraft outside. That's a G4.
Yeah. We put a little link in there that you could give out to everybody, including in the chat room, and they can go look at each one of these vertebrae and what they control. And this is one of the softwares that we gave away. It was muscle management. So we're going to be giving that away again the first part of November. If people want to get in touch with us, just soundhealthoptions.com or me, Sharry Edwards at Gmail. And I don't know if I should say that because I'll probably get a lot of mail. But it's out there anyway, because some of your people are asking questions here that I'm answering right while we're on the air. So Karen, C5 controls laryngitis, throat conditions, sore throat, hoarseness, that kind of thing. And also the flexure, the bending of your neck, and even from side to side, along with the sternocleidomastoid. And those are other, we can look at all the muscles in your body. But mainly, we just looked at the worst of the worst for you. And if you clean up the worst of the worst, the rest of the body will follow. And we just need to clean up your methylation, get you some cofactors so that you can use your resources. And then your body should do its own thing.
Well, I've known that I've needed to clean up my act for a long time. So but now I just know what I need to take here before I actually can see someone in Portland, and I'm definitely interested in that. But I'm also, I still wasn't sure about everything to take. Okay, niacin, lysine, and then you also said that I may have fibromyalgia, and that the wheat and the glutathione may be something that I need to be careful of as well.
Yeah, the electrical system in your body, actually, the electrical system in most people's body, is just not optimal. And the fact that you're exercising is really increasing that. So, or upgrading it. We gave you 8 things that were the root cause. You also have some iron imbalance that's causing some inflammation. So, we gave you the information to use and then gave you a list of nutrients. In your case, the genetic problem is causing issues with dimethylglycine, a different form of glutamic acid and glutamate than Charlie. Yours deals with muscles, and muscles can get stiff easier. Uh, and again, that's genetic from not having that pyruvate and the ability to detox. That was another one of your issues, that the detoxification system was not working optimally. And again, you exercising every day is probably pushing that and helping a lot. There's another hyaluronic acid, which is the fluid balance in the body that we need to look at. That causes pressure in the eyes that we should consider. But let's get to the worst of the worst. Let's get you some enzymes for methylation. Food based is best. I can't think of any particular company that makes methylation enzymes. Maybe Nature's Sunshine, which is they were all over every place, or Nourish is another one that does food-based enzymes for digestion. But you just aren't using your resources, and it's going to cause a cholesterol issue in your eyes, which is called drusen. And we can predict this 10 years out or so. Even things like cancer, we can see it coming before it manifests.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to worry about that one on top of all the others.
I just wanted people
let me
to
ask
know.
you this, Sharry. Let me ask you this: if you saw something in either one of our, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to ask this, and I want to make sure I didn't forget. If you saw something truly diabolical in our system, maybe you looked at mine and then you saw cancer or something, and even though you're just doing a general imprint, I mean, have you had success in seeing very severe ailments or severe conditions? Do they stand out like a sore thumb when you're doing this analysis? Did I have cancer, by the way? Let me ask you that.
No, you did have some issue with vitamin A, but only one little piece. When we look at cancer, we got to look at calcitonin and vitamin A and catalase. We did a whole study on cancer, and we know what to look for, and that's not in your chart.
Sweet.
There are some hormone things in your chart that I saw that are a little bit concerning, but we can talk about that privately, and some things to do about it. But if I saw something, I would say we have a database, for instance, traumatic brain injury. We have a database of soldiers from the Army that we did, and there are 9 biomarkers for traumatic brain injury. So I would say that to them, you had 5 out of 9 biomarkers for brain injury. I would suggest that you discuss this with your wellness provider. I don't say, oh, you've got cancer markers. I would say you've got 6 out of 10. Let's look at this.
Very interesting. Karen, did you have any more questions that as far as what you need to do in order to spend the next, and obviously you might not be able to implement the chiropractor and because that's a long-term deal usually. But do you have an idea of what you're going to do between now and the next time Sharry is on to see if we've had a positive result?
Well, I'm still not clear on all of the supplements I need. Okay, niacin, lysine, ATP, enzymes. It seems when we were talking last night, Sharry, you said my oxygen isn't able to get into my cells. And one of the things that I did last night, I'd like to get into the moaning your tones, because maybe you can explain that a little bit. I read over your article, and when I went to sleep, I tried to see if I could hear a tone, but I'm also using the Ho'oponopono, which is water holds memory, and it's a water. Well, there's great work with the Dr. Emoto, and water does hold energy, and when you he would put names on beakers of water. He'd put like love, I hate you, and the water when he froze it, and then he would take pictures of it. The water that he said I love you was absolutely beautiful crystals. The water that was hated was dark and funky. They also did an experiment where they filled a beaker with rice and they put water in it, and on each one they put love on the first one, they put I hate you on the second, and they ignored the third one. And every day they'd come in and kind of, say those things to it. And after a period of time, the water that had love on it and the rice was fermenting. It was giving off a nice scent. The water that was hated was black, and the water that was ignored with the rice in there was green. And there's also Dr. Hewlin, and he cured people who were put in an insane asylum for the criminally insane. It was a horrible place. And he came and he didn't even see the patients, but he would sit in his office and he would take their charts and he would take complete accountability for everything that was wrong, saying, I'm sorry, I love you, thank you, forgive me, which is I'm sorry for this condition that I'm seeing, because in the perfect world that should be, the divine essence creates everything and it's perfect. And forgive me for my lack of being able to perceive this. And thank you for the forgiveness, and I love you. Now, those are my interpretations in terms of the I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. But I do that when I'm walking. I do that to try and bless the water within. We're 70% water to 90% water at any one time, and I hear we're going for a break right now. Folks, we will be back after this. And
welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Final segment of our 2 hours with Sharry
Charlie
Edwards.
Froze up again.
2 hours of with Sharry Edwards, who just stumbled me there, of SoundHealthOptions.com, and Karen Quinn Tostado. And Karen, you wanted to make sure we covered something before we checked out, correct?
well, I can talk to Sharry after, but as far as the oxygen in my cells and stuff, I'm trying to do other things as well mentally, because I believe we're much more than we've been lied to believe. And so it'd be good, because I have a hard time focusing anyway. My mind is always thinking about so many things. So there are, aside from taking Sherry's advice, I'm going to work on these other things, and I'll work out a way to get up and see this woman in Portland so that we can do something.
There's an article on our site, If You Can Moan, You Can Tone, and it teaches you how to listen to your own sounds. I've told people repeatedly, they don't need what I have. They don't need all these computers. I just created that to make it easy. I want to suggest...
Explain that a little bit, because I heard Karen saying that she was implementing this exercise, moaning and toning, and I didn't know what she's talking about. What is that?
There is a sound coming out of your ear called an otoacoustic emission. And if you listen to that, it will give you the specific, exact, wonderful frequency that you need every moment. You just put a pillow up over your ears and just listen to the pillow underwater and listen to the water, and you'll hear your own sound, this otoacoustic emission. Some of this is explained in Water, the Great Mystery, that you can find on YouTube and other places. And what they explain in there is that intention really is a frequency, and water picks up the frequency. And radiation in the water causes the water to change. And also, when you drink the water, it can cause mental issues. The other thing is to give frequency to your blood, and it can decoagulate your blood if you're being threatened with a heart attack. But there's a lot of books out. Biology of Belief is probably the most popular one. Biology of Emotion. Something of Emotion. Candace Pert's book. But Bruce Lipton writes a lot about this and how your intention and those frequencies of your intention can change your electrical chemical energy, the patterns of how the frequencies move in the body. So I totally believe in what Karen is doing. I have seen it, how people just go calm themselves down.
So wait, and if I'm listening in bed, I'm laying in bed in a couple hours here, and I cover my ears with a pillow and I hear this tone, what do I do with this?
Just listen to it. It'll put you in an altered state, and you'll wake up totally relaxed and refreshed. The first time you start listening to it, you'll heave a great big clearing sigh. And what it is doing is changing the frequency patterns of the body, integrating your brain frequencies with the rhythm of your heart, and putting you back into an optimal state of form and function.
This is something I can try tonight.
Yeah, we have it with us all the time.
I need to hear it more. I heard some of it this morning, but I do to the Ho'oponopono thing. I bless the water in my body. That was the point that I wanted to make before we went to break, because we take it for granted, and we're between 70 to 90% water during our lifetimes. And when I went today and was looking at the waterfalls, it had rained here. Actually, it was raining, and there's a lot of motion. There's a lot of oxygen in there. So I also now, when I'm doing it, I'm thinking of the oxygen getting into the cells as well.
I think we're just beginning to come back and understand what the ancients knew all along. AT&T just put out an article about bioacoustics is the medicine of the future. Well, it's actually the medicine of the past. We just understand it from a scientific point, where older ancients understood it from a universal soul perspective. But frequency is intention just as much as it's medication or a chemical. We teach people to use a little biocharger, and we give them the directions on how to make their own. And if they want B12 or iron or Prozac or whatever, they can just dial it in, and they got it in the water. And we've already proven we can change the pH of water. I'm going to have to add a component to see if we're doing it by intention, but certainly by lab tests, we can prove that we can change the frequency of a water to be the frequency of a compound. That's awesome.
There you go. That is awesome, because water is so important and it's so overlooked. And in that movie, Water, the Great Mystery, it is on the documentary page at unitedwewin.me, and I'd suggest people go there. And you can also check out one of Dr. Hugh Lin and Ho'oponopono.
It's an incredible movie about how our intention affects our water, that affects our muscles, that affects our nerves, that affects our everything that goes on. And at our core, we have the dominion over everything that happens to us. That's the real message.
Yes, I believe that. Now, Sharry, I know we only have a couple of minutes left, but I'm good if you want to talk about those lying, thieving bastards with a U who are running for president.
I was being calm. Listen, Sharry, I was being calmed by the unique tones in. I mean, both you and Karen have very soothing voices, and that's probably why I'm drawn to people like you. Is that factual? Is this? I mean, people like you, people like Karen's got an absolutely beautiful voice, beautiful singing voice. Your voice is it's different, but it is just as soothing. Is that? Do we gravitate to that kind of thing?
You gravitate to what you need, and my voice is the frequency of dopamine, and dopamine gives you satisfaction.
Yeah, this show is digressing quickly. All right, let's get into. We have about 4 minutes left here, so let's. You just finished analyzing, and we're going to get Sharry. Hopefully, when did you say, Karen? When is she coming back on?
Well, I've got to double check with her after the show, and because I have a tentative here. So
very good. All right, so we'll try to get you back on to get a last minute update on what I want to know is right before the election if pundits, if media outlets, if higher ups in these parties seem to have a pre-knowledge of what's going to happen on November 6th. But what have you seen in these debates? What's your analysis shown?
Well, one, I have to say that I don't agree with either candidate that's up for election. I did their voices about 3 months ago, and they were almost identical. And
shocker.
That just blew me away. But after talking to Karen today, I decided to do this third debate, and I found incredible information. One, Obama, normal score for ego is 42. Obama's score is 85, and Romney's ego score is 14.
Whoa.
So way less ego in Romney's voice. And the biggest thing I found is in Obama's voice, there is 4 or 5 levels of hidden agendas. And that is not in Romney's voice at all. He's very foundational, what he says he means. And, I've heard a lot of negative and positive, but in this third debate, when you look at Romney's voice, it is incredibly foundational, where Obama is operating a lot in fantasy and what he wants to happen, not reality.
That's very interesting. What does a low ego score mean? I mean, that initially sounds like a good thing, but is there any negative to having a 14?
Yes, it means that people might run over him, but he has a 28 on emotions. And there is a big split between the two of them now, that Obama is absolutely split between intellectual emotion, and Obama is on this path of emotional usefulness.
I wonder about like MK Ultra type stuff in terms of Obama and mind control. Have you ever seen pictures of his head and the huge scar he has?
I have, and I'll send you pictures of his voice. It is completely separated. It's on 4 octaves, and all the octaves are split at F and F sharp, which means a balance between perception and action. There is no such split in Romney's voice. He has a complete octave that's very foundational, except his ego is lower than the rest of it. His main concern is D sharp, helping others, E with words, and F, the balance of perception and action. Now, I haven't written this up. I just did it because Karen and I talked about it this afternoon, but I will write it up and post it on our site.
Very interesting. Go ahead, Karen. I hear you signing on there.
Well, I'm just reading a book, too, on transformation with Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillips, and it's about MK Ultra and the sex slaves and the pedophilia. It's absolutely horrible, and she really names names: Bush Sr., Dick Cheney, who is appropriately named, and Aquino. All these people who are still in power, and you're hearing Seville just was outed in the UK as being a huge pedophile. And the more that we look at what's going on in terms of government, the more ugly it really gets. And if Obama is so split like that, it does make me wonder if he's been somehow mind controlled, especially with that huge scar. Maybe they implanted a brain.
If somebody had sent me this and said, not told me who it was, and told me this was a mental patient, I would say they were disassociative, if not split. So that might answer a question for you.
You got the Nobel Peace Prize winner, and how many wars has he started? And both of them sit and talk about wars. And there was a thing with Scarborough today who was really starting to say, well, look, we're not even worried about blowing up children. And they could just laugh about this, using drones, the collateral damage. Nobody seems to care. It's cocktail party conversation that we can laugh at, the fact that we are just so screwed up in this country. And
I think you sent me that. I think you sent me that clip today, didn't you, Karen?
Yeah.
It's very troubling. It was Hillary Clinton hackling like a hyena, and with the topic of butchery. So it's a sad state of affairs. Listen, I don't want to end it on a negative note, but unfortunately we did, talking about the political season here. Sharry Edwards, thank you very.
That's a high note.
That's a high. It's a high note if it all goes away. Sharry Edwards, thank you very much for coming on here and giving this analysis. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to implement. I'm taking this report to my health food store, and I'm going to implement this, and I'm going to get you back on so I can give you an analysis of what happened.
Great.
All right, Karen Quintosano, thank you very much. Sharry Edwards, thank you very much. Listen, guys, a lot better tonight. I'm very optimistic at this point. Enjoy Jeff Rense. He is coming up next. We will see you tomorrow night with Eric Lovely. And who else we got, Karen? Okay, good deal. Guys, enjoy Jeff Rense. He is coming up next. Have a good night. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharry.
All right, now
I
we
love
we
that.
are still live. We are still live in the JTV chat room, and I am still recording. One of the things I was tortured to do here. If you'll stand by for just a moment, I've got to show off for Charlie a little bit. I'm going to put Charlie right where he belongs. There you go, Charlie. You are the captain of the Starship Enterprise.
See it here. I haven't got it yet.
You got to look at JTV.
Oh my gosh, that is cheesy, Gary. That's funny though. That's funny.